Boker Tov, Masechet Pesahim, Kuzayin Amud Aleph, 107A1. Says the Gemara, Amar Rava. If you remember, we said there were two different lishonot in what Rava said. What was the halacha? So Hilchata says, what is the halacha? Ta'am mekadesh, v'im ta'am mavdil. Whether it is if a person comes and they did kiddush, which means that they ate before the kiddush, or they ate before Havdalah, they're still able to say kiddush and they're still able to do Havdalah. Umi shelo kiddush be'erev Shabbat, and somebody that does not do kiddush on erev Shabbat, right? He could do kiddush the entire Shabbat. There's no problem. Yeah, he says ad motzei Shabbat until motzei Shabbat. Umi shelo ivdil b'motzei Shabbat, and somebody that did not do Havdalah on motzei Shabbat, avdil ve'olech kol hayom kol Shabbat kulo. He could also do Havdalah the entire Shabbat, which is the entire week. I remember, even though it says here the entire week, it really means until the Tuesday. Yeah. Amimar patach lashmat adrava lishna. Amimar, though he had a different braita, a different lashon in the braita. Rava says Rava. The halacha is that im ta'am, if he tasted before kiddush, he could still do the kiddush. Im ta'am, if he tasted before Havdalah mavdil, he could still do Havdalah. Mishelo kiddush be'erev Shabbat. If somebody did not eat on it, did not do kiddush on every Shabbat, he's still allowed to do kiddush the entire day. Somebody that did not do Havdalah motzei Shabbat, he could do Havdalah the entire day. So here it comes out that according to this Shita and Rava, you could only do the Havdalah on Sunday until Sunday night, but you cannot do it afterwards. According to the first one, you could do it the entire week, which we know means until Tuesday, right? But according to the second one, it's only just until Sunday night. Okay, until here clear. That's where we finished yesterday, actually. Okay. No. Why? Where does it say ish? Saturday night and Sunday the same day. No. We said that the ish is only done on Motzei Shabbat, that we learned, I think it was in yesterday's daf, because of Briyato, right, exactly, Briyato. So the Briyato is only on Motzei Shabbat. We don't do it during the day. We never do it, not even on Sunday morning. Yeah.
So nothing. If you do it Tuesday, you cannot do an ish?
No, never. No, never, not only on Tuesday. Not on Tuesday, not on Monday, not on Sunday. You don't do ala ish and you don't do besamim. Besamim is only on Motzei Shabbat. Just, yeah, yeah, that's it. Fine. Says the Gemara. What?
It's logical. How can you do ala ish when you already like the night?
No, let's say you didn't. Let's say you didn't. You were still in Shabbat until.
You drive to home anyway.
Yeah.
So that means it's nothing.
No, nothing to do with because you already did the fire. No, let's say you right now you came and you did Shabbat until Sunday morning, right? You went to sleep. I know some people they go to sleep and mamash bagels. You know the bagels.
In Europe, for example, when it's Shabbat, it's at 11 p.m.
Exactly. They go to sleep, right, and then they wake up on Sunday morning, right? They went to sleep. Motzei Shabbat. They went to sleep at 8 o'clock. Some people go to sleep at 8 o'clock. You know those people. No? Yeah, even 10 o'clock. Yeah, and then what happens? It's still before. So what happens? They wake up. Right, it's already Sunday morning, and now they want to do Havdalah. No esh and no besamim.
They should have waited.
Huh?
They should have waited.
Nah, even without it, you don't. There's no obligation. Yeah, there's no obligation to wait. The person wants to go to sleep, they go to sleep. Goes to sleep. Yeah, elderly people. You're going to tell them stay forced. But you have to stay up. Go to sleep tomorrow morning. They do Havdalah. Yeah. Fine. So Amri Lei, this is where we're starting today's daf, really. Okay? Because this we already did yesterday. Amri Lei, Mor Yenuka or Mor Kashisha Bered Rav Chasta. Yeah, Leravashi. So says Mor Yenuka, Mor Kashisha, the children, right? So one of them was called like more the younger one and the older one, right? The children of Rav Chasta. They told Ravashi, Zimni Chada Ikla Meimar Latrim. It once happened that a Meimar came to our city, came to our place. Velo Havalan Chamra. We did not have wine for Havdalah. So Aitina le shichra velo avdil. We gave him shechar. We gave him beer, and he didn't do Havdalah. Yeah, ubat tevat, and he went to sleep when he was mamash me'uneh. He was afflicted. He was in ta'anit because he didn't want to do it. Lemachar, the next day, tarachna v'aitina lechamra. We brought him wine ve'avdil, and then he did Havdalah v'taimidi, and then he went and he ate something. Leshana, the next year, tu ikla latrin. Again he came. Again, he did not have, right? He didn't have any wine, right? We didn't have it again. Aitina shichra, we gave him beer. Amar, he said, if so, chamar medinahu. This for sure is considered chamar medina. Savdil b'tayim midi. So then he went, he did Havdalah and he ate. What does that mean? The second year, when the exact same thing happened again, he realized that 1 second, this is actually the minhag hamakom, meaning that it becomes
the
chamar
wine.
medina. This is like the wine. Meaning, if it's so common that they have the beer is like the wine. And the truth is, even until today, the beer is like wine in many, many, many different places. Yeah?
Beer, if you don't have the wine, you can use beer.
Yeah, exactly. You could use beer because it's considered chamar medina, right? But that's where it comes from. So he realized it was chamar medina for the fact that the next year, again, they gave it to him. So he said, for sure there's chamar medina. I could actually do this. So therefore, he did do the avdalah and he actually ate. Okay? Shema mina tlat. But now says the Gemara, from this stories, right, we learn 3 halachot. Yeah, many times you learn from a story, you learn much more halachot than if I just told you dry halachot. I could tell you a story, you say, wow, look at what happened. And you come and you could learn an entire thing. Shema mina tlat. So you learn 3 different things. Shema mina mavdil batfilah tzarich sheyivdal lakol. So this we already learned also, right, the day before yesterday. And he says, right, that if you do avdalah in Amidah and Motzei Shabbat, you still have to do avdalah lakos. Why? Because for sure he did pray Arvit on Motzei Shabbat, right? And he did avdalah in the tefillah. But still, he didn't eat until he did Havdalah lakos. So that's number 1. Shema mina number 2 also, Asulo ladam sheyochal kodem sheyavdil. You're not allowed to eat before Havdalah. Because if he already knew he wasn't going to be able to get wine until the next day, so fine, eat something, and then tomorrow you do Havdalah. No, you're not allowed to eat before Havdalah. Shema mina, 3rd halacha, mi shelo avdil motzei Shabbat, avdil lele kol Shabbat kulo. If you did not do Havdalah, motzei Shabbat, you could do it the entire rest of the week, right? Which, again, we always say until the beginning of the 4th day. So you hear the truth is that it's not. Which one?
But this for sure is going to eat before Tuesday.
Oh, okay. It's going to eat before Tuesday. Not always. No, but what I thought you were going to ask me was, what's the proof? Maybe it's like the other Braita of Rava, that maybe it's only until Sunday. Because maybe he did. It was the next morning that he did the wine. So that's what it says here. But the Ikar Kavanah is that you're allowed to continue afterwards. That's the Ikar. Okay, that means you don't have to do it mamash on the same night, right? If you needed to, you were able to do it later on as well. Okay, now we're going to go back to the concept of Chamar Medina, which is basically the concept of beer, right? Or beverages, which is like the wine. So, Ba'mine Rav Huna Amer Rav Chasta. Okay, asks Rav Huna from Rav Chasta. Yeah, and he says as follows. Yeah, he says like this. Ma'u lekadush ashichra. Are you allowed to do kiddush on shechar, on beer or not? Now, this type of beer was always beer tmarim, okay, of dates, okay, but there's no difference, right? And it says over here like this. So the question is, right, here it says over here that the Tosafot are explaining that here we're talking about where there's no wine, and therefore it's the shechar is not considered chamar medina, but other people say no, that it is, that the shechar is the chamar medina. So ma'u lekadusha shichra. So Amar, he went and he told him, Hashta uma prizuma utene ve'ase. Even if you're talking about shechar, which is made out of barley, which that's the majority of the ones that we have, right? Shechar seorim, or shechar te'enim, or figs, or shechar tutim, or of different strawberries or things like that. So he says, shehem yoter chashuv, which is even more special than the shechar, which is made out of dates. Teba mine Rav, that they asked Rav once, right? Are they fitting for kiddush? The Rav mi Rabbi Chia, and Rav asked Rabbi Chia, and Rabbi Chia asked Rabbi Yudan Asiyas Rebbe, velo pashele, and he didn't actually give him a psak. So therefore, mimela, you shouldn't do kiddush on them. So shichra mibai. So if you're going to tell me now in such a case, do you have then a regular concept of shechar tmarim, which is a lower form of shechar, meaning there's different levels in beer, right? In shechar, there was a beer which was made out of barley, right? And that's the majority of nowadays beer. And then you had other types of beer, whether it's a beer of dates, beer of figs. Right now, beer of dates was the lowest level of the beer. That's what he says over here. So what happens is he says, if right now they wanted to find out for kiddush, right, and he didn't answer, so kal vachomer for the beer of dates, which is a lower level than beer of barley and things like that. So then you obviously shouldn't do it. Okay? So shichra mibae. So says the Gemara, savur mina, right? The Bnei Yeshiva, they understood kiddush you cannot do kiddush. Aval avdule mavdilin, but you could do avdalah. Meaning avdalah is a lighter form than the kiddush. That means even if you're not going to do it for kiddush, you would still be able to do it for avdalah. Okay? Amalu Rav Chasta, so says Rav Chasta. Ahachi amar Rav, this is what Rav says. Keshem shel mekadshin alav, kachem mavdilin alav. Just like you cannot do kiddush on this shechar, on this beer, you cannot do avdalah on this beer. That means you can't. That's what it says. Who was this? This was Amalu Rav Chasta. This is what Rav said. Yeah, the Rav Chasta says this in the name of Rav. You can't do it. Itman Nami was also stated. Amar of Tachlifa Baravimi Amar Shmuel says of Tachlifa Baravimi Name of Shmuel. Kesher Shebekadushin Lav Kachem Avdilin Lav. Right, just like you can't do Kiddush on it, you cannot do Havdalah on it. Okay, so now we're going to bring another story. Levi Shada le Rebbe, right? So Levi sent to Rebbe Shichra Bar Tleisar Megane. He sent him of 13 different barrels of tamarim which were crushed. So Ta'ameh, so he tasted it, Havabasim Tuva, and it was very, very good, right? It was very arev. By the way, you should know this is just another proof, right, to that which we said on Purim. The word levesume does not mean to get drunk. It means basim arev yoter. It's much more tasty. It's enjoying. Yeah? This is chayvenish levesume. Right here it says it, the word basim. Yeah? So Amar, right? So he says, right? I'm not going to go into the stories of getting drunk. Don't worry about it. Right? He says, Kigon zer ra'ui lekadesh alav. So he says, like, for example, this, it's fitting to do kiddush on it. Vilomar alav kol shirot v'tishpachot sheba'olam. And to come and to say all the different shirot and tishpachot in the world. Meaning he said that the wine was so good. It wasn't wine, it was beer. It was so good that you could say all the shirot and tishpachot of David HaMelech. You could say mamash everything. Perek shira. You could say Tehillim. You could say everything that you want on it. What happened though? Qu'est-ce que tu dis? Yeah. Belelia tsare. But then what happened? All of a sudden, in the nighttime, he felt the after effects, right? He felt the aftermath of what happened. In the nighttime, he felt the aftermath. So Amar, miyaseranum fayes. Yeah, he says, this is a mashke which is miyaser. This is a mashke which is actually going to come and it's actually going to, and it's going to actually come and going to do us so much harm. Do you really think that it's good for us to use this for HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Meaning at the time of drinking it, he was like, this is, incredible. For sure you could do everything. After he saw the after effects, he says, what, do you really think I could actually make Kiddush on this type of a thing? For sure not. So Amar of Yosef says of Yosef, Edor barabim telo ashteshichra. He says he's going to make a neder bifnei rabim that he doesn't want to drink any type of beer which is made out of dates. Amar Rava says, Eshte me zorion velo eshteshichre. He says, I prefer drinking even water which was flax, which was soaked in it, than coming and drinking beer. The Amar Rava and Rava says, he says the mashke kavua of the person that is shechar tmanim is somebody that makes that makes kiddush on shechar tmanim, which basically they're all talking about the negativity of what it is, the beer. Okay, so Rav Ashkecha Ravuna de Kadish Shechra. Rav once found Rav Huna was making kiddush on shechar, right? Amalei comes and he tells him Shari Abba lemikne istre shechra. He says what? He says, are you allowed to start making money on making shechar? And that's why it became so important for you, which means what? You started making money on beer? And that's why you're making kiddush on beer? Like, what's going on? Right? Well, yeah? But okay. So again, these are just different types of things, which means that for sure he wouldn't make the beer chaviv if it wasn't that he was making a lot of money through the beer. And that's why all of a sudden it started becoming chaviv for him. Okay? Fine. Now we're going to bring a braita. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned the braita. Yeah, the Braita says as follows. So you don't make kiddush only on wine, and you don't make a bracha on any type of liquid other than wine. So says the Gemara, says what? You never make a bracha on any other liquid, right? Which means that you're only going to make a bracha on wine. Wine is the only liquid that you're going to make a bracha. If you're going to take a drink of coffee, you're not going to make a shakol. You're going to take water. You're not going to make a shakol, right? You're not going to make a shakol on beer. So Abaye comes and he says, Haki Kamar, this is what it means to say. En omrim aveko shel beracha levarech ela alayayin. You're not going to say, go bring a cup of Birkat Hamazon, or a cup to make a beracha, unless it's going to be on wine. That's what he says, okay? Another braita. Tanu Rabbanan, which means the cost of Birkat Hamazon is only going to be on wine, okay? Now he says over here like this. We're not talking about Birkat Haneni, we're talking about the bracha of Birkat Hamazon and Lakos. Okay. Says the Gemara, we're not going to make kiddush on the beer. Right? In the name of Rabbi Lazar, in the name of Shimon, they said, Mekachin matemet yain kol shehu. Right? He says Mekachin, you are allowed to actually come and make kiddush on it. And another halacha, Matem et yain kolshu, which means that the fact that you actually come and you're allowed to drink any amount, right? That's already enough. That's a kolshu. Meaning you don't have to drink a whole bunch. You just drink a drop. That's all that you need to drink. Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda Omer. Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda says no. Melo lugmav. Yeah, are we paskin? Chazak u'baruch. Melo lugmav. Which means that even though there's one shita in the Gemara that says all you have to drink is nothing, kolshu, right? Melo lugmav you have to drink. Right? That's actually, by the way, how we paskin with other things. There's a Bet Yosef in Yoreh De'ah that for Brit Milah, right? And the same halacha applies to Sheva Berachot. You only have to drink kol shehu. I remember I was at a Brit Milah. Yeah, a drop. I remember I was at a Brit Milah in Highland Lakes Shul, Bet David Highland Lakes over there. Yeah, I was there. And I remember there was another rabbi beside me, and I did the beracha part and he did the naming part. So right after the beracha part, I said, Koret Brit, right? And now what do they use? They always use wine, right? I drank a little bit. Tipa. I drank. He goes, no. I'm like, he goes, no, Revit. I said, yeah. Kilo. Yeah. Well, yeah. So afterwards, I sent him the picture from the halacha. I said, what do you have over? Halacha mefureshet, you do not need to. The only time you need melo lugmav, right, is going to be for kiddush and havdalah. But for kos of, whether it's going to be, for example, sheva berachot, you're at a sheva berachot, or chatana kala, right? That means them for themselves, not only just the rabbi that's officiating the wedding, right, the ceremony, but even the chatana kala. You don't have to tell the kala start drinking melo lugmav or things that you understand. No. A sip. That's all you need. You don't need more than that.
So people, the finger.
No, by putting the finger, the concept of the putting the finger was not to make it pagum.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, not to make the cup pagum. But you don't need to put the finger. Why are you going to put the finger? Well, you're talking about because of the Borei Geffen. Yeah. There's that was Rav Ben Sion used to do that. Rav Ben Sion Bar Shaul, when he used to make the Borei Geffen at the beginning of the Sheva Berachot, then there used to be all the Berachot until the end, right? Until Umatzliach. So what happened is that that what he would do is that he would, after the Borei Geffen, he would pour a little bit, whether it's into the palm of his hand or whatever, in order to drink from there, and therefore he was already to the chovah, the mitzvah of the Borei Geffen, because not because he could speak, but because he made the Borei Geffen. Now the question is, what happens to that beracha, right? Because who's going to drink afterwards? Is it the one that made the Borei Geffen? Is it the one that's making the Sher Bara, the last beracha? Is it only the Chatam v'Kala? So there's a lot of what to speak about. So because of that, that's what he used to do. Okay. Next, it says over here, so it's Milo Lugma. Amar Ravuna, Amar Rav. It says Ravuna, name of Rav. V'chen tani Rav Gidal de min Neresh. And also Rav Gidal de min Neresh taught in a bright. Kadesh v'tam Milo Lugma v'yatza. If somebody did Kiddush and he tasted Milo Lugma, he's going to be Yitzhak Chovah the Kiddush. And if not, which means he did not taste Milo Lugma, lo yatza, he wasn't Yitzhak Chovah Kiddush. So Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Kana Tanina la, we already taught in the Braita, lo Gidul bar Menashia, velo Gidul bar Minyomeh. It's not Gidul bar Menashia, it's not Gidul bar Minyomeh, Ela Gidul Stama, but it was a Gidul without Rav Gidul. So it wasn't Rav Gidul, or it was just Gidul. That was the name of the person that was saying this. Okay. So now says the Gemara, Lemay nafkamina, what do I care? So he says, Lemirma didei adidei, in order to ask a contradiction between Rav Gidul and another bright of Rav Gidul. So because of that, that's why, meaning he was asking, what do you care whether it's Rabbi Gidul, Rabbi Gidul, just okay, this is the halacha, vegamanu. He says, no, because many times it could happen that we're going to ask a contradiction. And if we're going to ask a contradiction, what happens is that it's not going to be good. So therefore, by knowing exactly who is the one that says it, now it's important to know if we're going to ask a contradiction on him or not. Okay? Nekuda. Now we're going back to another part that we spoke about in the Mishnah. We said, Erev Pesach, we're talking about Samuch Mincha, a person should not eat until it becomes nighttime, right? So Ibailu. So we're going to ask the following question. So this question is the same question that we ask also in Ilchot Shabbat, right? To do with, all the different halachot, or even on a regular weekday. Right? The question was asked in Masechet Shabbat, but it was a question to do with anything, right? Whether it's meals, so what are we talking about? When it says Samuch Mincha, Ibai Lehu, is it Samuch Mincha Gedolah Tenan, or Dilma Samuch Mincha Ketana Tenan? Is it Mincha Gedolah or Mincha Ketana? Huge difference. We're talking about a good 3-hour difference. You understand? It's not a pashut. You understand? Mincha Gedolah is half an hour after Chatzot. Mincha Ketana is 2.5 hours before nightfall, or 9.5 hours into the day, which is basically 3 hours after Mincha Gdula. So therefore, right, it's a big difference. So it says the Gemara, Samuch Mincha Gdulata. It's Samuch Mincha Gdula, right? Why? Mishum Pesach Dil Ma'ati Lemimshach. Because of the Chovah bringing the Korban Pesach, which used to be brought after Chatzot on Erev Pesach. So it says that we're going to start suspecting Dil Ma'ati Lemimshach, that maybe you're going to come and you're going to be Moshech B'Seudah, you're going to continue in the Seudah, Kuf Zayin Amubet, right, 107b, Ve'ati Limnua Milimei V'ad Pischa, and then you're not going to do the Korban Pesach. Or Dilmar, maybe Samuch L'Mincha Ktanan, maybe it's Samuch L'Mincha Ktana, right, and Mishum Matzah, and it's because of the mitzvah of Matzah. Dilma Ata Lemichla Matzah Achila Gasa, but maybe you're going to eat Matzah Achila Gasa, which means that we don't know what's the reasoning. Is the reasoning of Mincha Gedolah, and because of the Korban Pesach, or is it Mincha Ketana because of Matzah? Meaning, what's the purpose behind it? If it's because that you want to eat on an empty stomach, so then okay, fine. So do Mincha Ketana, that's already enough, right? 4 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever it is, and then you're only going to be eating at 8 o'clock at night. Saying, listen, you already had time to digest something. It wasn't just, you understand? It wasn't that you stuffed your face at 4 o'clock or 3:30. You understand? You ate something, fine, but that is no problem. So that's because of Matzah. Or do you say it's because of Korban Pesach? Maybe you're going to become honest, force majeure that you didn't do the Korban Pesach, but then that would be Mincha Gdolah already. So says the Gemara, Amar Ravina says, we're going to try to bring a proof to the different sides. Says, Tashema, afilu Agripaz HaMelech shu ragil le'echol b'teisha shaot, oto hayom lo yochal ad shetechshach. Even Agripaz, a king, that used to eat his seudah usually in the 9th hour into the day, that day on Erev Pesach, he wouldn't eat until nighttime. So says the Gemara, if you're going to tell me that the Kavanah hour Mishnah means that you're not supposed to eat from Mincha Ketana, was it that's the Chidush of Agripaz HaMelech? But right, but that was the Chidush, right? That even though the Yisur of Achila was only right at the end of the 9th hour, and Agrippas used to eat at the beginning of the 9th hour, still he wouldn't do it because maybe he's going to continue into the meal. But if you're going to tell me Samuch Licha Gdulatanan, what do I care about Agrippas then? Right? What do I care about him? Already from the beginning there was already an Isur. So what's the chidush that by the way, Agrippas he didn't eat? Well, nobody was allowed to eat, because if you're not allowed to eat from Mincha Gdolah, so then nobody was allowed to eat. It wasn't that he started be'eter. Here the chidush would have been that he started be'eter, but he still didn't do it. Why was he wanted to be on an empty stomach? So says the Gemara, Ela rather Samuch Mincha Ktanan. It has to be Samuch Mincha Ktanan. So says the Gemara, sof my revut to the Agrippas. Hamatel is man Yisrael. But once again, what's the chidush by Agrippas? It already became the time of the Isur, and therefore, what do you want then? So he says, no. I would have thought to say Teisha Shal Agrippas Karba Shal Ledidan Nami, right? I would have thought that maybe the 9th hour of Agrippas was domed to the 4th hour of Bayas, which means just like when a person is going to come and he's going to eat a Seudah, right, at the end of the Sha'ar Revi'it, right? Because that's the time when it's normal. You remember on the Sha'ar Revi'it in the 4th hour. That's when it's normal to eat. Yeah? Right? But that's what the normal thing. But it says, he's not going to stop him from eating, right, the matzah in the nighttime. So to Agrippas, even if he's going to eat in the middle of the day until the 9th hour, he would still be able to eat properly, because that's the way that he always does it. So Kamashmalan, that's what we're coming to actually try and tell you. Right? Kamashmalan comes to teach you. That's why he says the Yisur was also for Agrippas. I mean, this svara is also shayach to him, that there's an Yisur to start even in Achila, which is close to Samuch Lemincha Ktana. And the reason why is because he does not want it to become Achila Gasa. You know what Achila Gasa is? Full. Yeah? Many times I know a caterer, the blind he comes, he takes out meat and meat and meat. You come and you eat. By the time it comes dessert, it's already Achila Gasa. Why is it Achila Gasa? Yeah, because everyone has room for a little bit of sweet, right? As the Gemara says. Huh? Korban Pesach. Yeah. For the, how do you call it? For the matzah, for the afikumen. Zechel Korban Pesach, and Echal Lasova. Yeah, but the Korban Pesach was eaten on Lasova. It was eaten on the Seichel. That's why you had the shlamim, to eat the shlamim, and then you would eat the Korban Pesach on Lasova.
Only one person has to eat it.
What?
Afikumen, only one person has to eat it.
Everybody eats
You have to break
everybody has to eat a kazait. Everybody. The only question is, does everybody have to eat 2 kazatim? That's the question. So there's a Rabban Sion that no. Yeah, you give a little bit, each person, and then they come and they get from other pieces. And but everyone has to eat a kazait. If you command, everyone has to eat a kazait.
And what part of the meal? After the Birkat Hamazon?
No, before the Birkat Hamazon. You can't do it after Birkat Hamazon. Exactly, you're the balabait. You have to eat 2.
J'ai pas de problème à manger deux.
He never has a problem. He could eat 4 if you want. Yeah, you could eat 4 also. Yeah, exactly.
No, but right before Birkat Hamazon, that's when you take it out, and before you do it.
Yes. Remember, after Birkat Hamazon, it's like
What's the concept of? What's the concept of hiding it until the end of the meal then? You know, this thing.
No, the entire thing of hiding is a minhag. It's not halacha. You don't have to hide it if you want. If you want, you can leave it by you.
No, because you're afraid to eat it during the meal. That's what we hide.
A person knows. We don't suspect that you're going to start eating it in the middle of the meal.
Okay.
Worst case scenario,
And
you
it's
take
the
another one.
biggest part of the second matzah, right? The middle matzah.
Yeah. Fine, let's go. Next. Amar Rabbi Asi, says Rabbi Asi. Aval metabel hu b'min targima. What does that mean? A person is allowed to eat during this time perot ubasar without any type of bread. Why? Because basically, since they don't satiate a person, so they're not going to. I mean, basically, even though we just said now you're not allowed to eat after the shah sirit or simuch min chaktana, you're not allowed to eat a meal. That's only bread. But if you're not having bread, you're allowed to have perot or basar and things like that. And that's like all the halachot, if you remember, right? That's by everything, right? That means even though we said that it's a food, you're still allowed to have fruit, you're allowed to have other things. You're just not allowed to have the bread. You're not allowed to have a meal. Okay, Suda. Rabbi Yitzchak metabel biyarke. Rabbi Yitzchak used to eat vegetables on Erev Pesach from Mincha onwards. Okay, Tanya Mihachi, right? We also learned in the Braita, Shamash metabel bivne me'ayin. What does that mean? The Shamash on Erev Pesach in the afternoon, when they were preparing the Seudat Chag, they would come and they would be metabel bivne me'ayin, which means they used to come and they used to take from the animals that were slaughtered for the Seudah and eat from them, just like they would do during the rest of the year. And then they used to put it for a Seudah in front of the Uruchim. So now, even though there's no raya for it, right? So he says, even though there's no proof to this, what's the zechel adavar? Shneimar, niru lachem nir ve'al tizra'u el kotzim, which means if you want to plant, first plow, right? And then you get out all the kotzim, you get out all the thorns, right? In order that the zera, the seeds could go in, and then it's going to be much better for you. So to the shamash, which he's preparing the seudah, he should eat and benefit from that which he's preparing, because if not, he's going to have tsar. So this is the concept of the waiters and everything eating before the meal, not afterwards. I've seen many times afterwards eating. It's not good afterwards. Before, right? They should eat before. So that way when they're actually serving, they already ate. Right? They already satiated. You understand? Okay. Rava avashate chamra kule ma'aleh yom de pischa. So Rava used to drink wine the entire day on Erev Pesach, right? So in order that the wine should actually open up his appetite. Tenechul matzah tfei leorta, in order that you could eat more matzah during the nighttime. Okay, so Amar Rava says, how do you know, right, that yain, right, causes the te'avon? You understand? That's one of the reasons. I know that somebody this year for Erev Shabbat, they were drinking a lot of wine. Why? They wanted to eat the Shabbat meal. They wanted to eat and to stuff themselves. Huh? Right? We're going to see. Right? As it says, it's numbers. We learned in the Mishnah. Yeah? Ben hakosot alalu, right? Between the first and second cup, or between the second and third cup of the 4 kosot, right? If a person wants, if he wants to drink more wine, he could drink. But if it's between the third and the fourth one, then no. Lo yishteh. Right? Why? Because basically you're after the meal. So he says, V'yamart misat tzayid. Now, if you're going to tell me now, misat tzayid, which means that the yain is masbia and it takes away the te'avon, right? Amayishte, why are you going to drink now, right, in those places? Hakachi lematzah, you need to eat the matzah, and it's going to be achila gasa. Elashmamina, but rather it comes to teach you migragari. So we learn from here that wine is actually migareret to te'avon, okay? And that's the way it was. Okay, Bezat Hashem, we will continue Bezat Hashem.